Welcome, 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 Red Bull Wololo Legacy. It continues, quarterfinals matchup here between Mista and RecoN. Starting off, the first map will be Golden Heights and Mista spawning in the north in blue as the Mongols and his opponent RecoN in yellow as the Holy Roman Empire. Both players opening up with barracks, and I suspect really that's instigated by the Mista opening up with the barracks of the Mongols. Quite typically done, sending those spearmen forward now, two of them. One in behind, and RecoN will need to be careful. Has got a barracks of his own, but doesn't appear to have any spearmen here in this position where he needs to defend. Villagers on that wood line, pretty exposed. This could become a problem. RecoN might need to move those villagers. He does. He reacts nicely in this opening game of the quarterfinals. Red Bull Wololo Legacy, and now the torch damage does come out for those spearmen. RecoN will want to repair that eventually, but the third spearman coming out, and RecoN will need to be careful. He needs those spearmen to be produced, and he doesn't might have the resources, or he does have resources to do so, but just not producing them yet. Does have the prelate he could use, but instead of using the prelate to heal up and fight with villagers, he's going to make spearmen of his own. In fact, it looks like he sent the spearmen forward towards the dock position, that potential dock position on the shoreline here, because there is this fishing economy to be had here on this map called Knights, as the spearmen continue their torch damage. Villager being pulled there by RecoN to heal up that lumber camp. Spearman head back there for the Mista, looking to maybe get an outpost of his own. Can't quite afford it on the wood side of things. Got 66 wood in the bank, but does have a villager on hand ready to place that tower as soon as he gets 100 wood. Looks like RecoN are going to try and palisade wall his opponent out, but it's unlikely to happen. Not with that many spears in play, and that's really coming in part because of the Mongols' ability to supplement their barracks with the Uvu, double producing those units. And now there's going to be a bit of an engagement here, spearman on spearman. Does head towards the town centre though, Mista, so we'll be taking some arrow fire. Looks like villagers are going to be used to build an outpost. Villager might go down there for the Holy Roman Empire. In fact, that's a spearman. But yeah, in any case, a lot of spearmen are going to get torch damage on that outpost. So that is pretty big there for the Mista. Going to take a lot of HP off that outpost. But the thing is that the Holy Roman Empire do have access to the emergency repairs technology. So if this outpost goes up, that will be using the emergency repairs and heating that right up. And the spears engage against each other. The outpost for the Mongols only being built by one villager. That will take quite a period of time to be built, and I'm not sure it will go up because the outpost does go up for the Holy Roman Empire. I suspect the villagers will garrison inside, or something will garrison us inside. It will be the spears. In fact, no, he's kind of dilly-dallying. The spears do now garrison inside, and now that those spears need to head back home for the Mista. He can't fight underneath the outpost for sure, and the villager will be going down too. He does actually take out the villager. That is huge. That means the outpost will be deleted to try and save the wood as much as possible. Incredible initial opening to the set, incredibly fast paced as expected. I mean, we've got the Mista playing here, so you expect strategies like this to happen. It'll be 10 villagers building the RecoN chapel in this position here. Interesting choice of the position. I kind of half expected it to be on the wood line just in case he gets pushed off this northwest wood line, but he will be able to inspire villagers on the stone, berries, and the food actually. So all in all, a very nice spot there. Let's just check, does he actually get the influence of the food there? We'll have to see. We'll have to wait until that's actually built, I believe. Interesting opening to the game. No, neither player going for the dock position. Although I say that, speaking of dock, Mista going to be looking to put one down on that pond. A new age does come in now for the Holy Roman Empire. And it does just about influence some of the sheep, but a lot of the carcasses are kind of killed, so only a few of them. Where is that prelate anyway? It is garrisoned inside. You can see a little 1 out of 1. And is able to take berries there as well. Acts as a drop-off point, the RecoN Chapel, for any resource. Has the ability to maybe expand for a second town centre should he wish to with the stone, but doing that against the Mongols can be a very dangerous endeavour indeed. Spearmen are coming in large numbers though for the Mista, and I mean, we need an archery range here for the Holy Roman Empire. That's exactly what happens. Two villagers get pulled away to build that archery range to try and counteract the spears that are heading in that direction now. The trouble is that mill. This is a mill that RecoN might need to delete. It's very exposed, very undefendable, and I think Mista is going to go straight for it. Yeah, he hits it. He's going to get the raiding bounty from this that the Mongols get. The Mongols get food and gold, I believe. They get resources when they set opponents' buildings alight, and that's going to be set alight very soon. Archers will be coming out for the Holy Roman Empire, hopefully soon. Struggling on the wood count though, RecoN does end up heading towards this west wood line again now. And this pressure is incredible for the Mista, moving villagers away from gold. Not only that, is denying the wood being taken here underneath the sphere of influence of the RecoN Chapel. That is 40%. He's reducing the economy by 40% efficiency on those on that wood line, and that's incredible. Getting the raiding bounty on that gold mine as well, and this is huge value from spearmen for the Mongols so far. On the back of this, Mongols are getting that wheelbarrow upgrade, and it looks like RecoN heading in to get a dock of his own on this eastern pond. We'll be looking to get those fishing ships out, build up a fishing economy, but he will have this dock of his opponent to contend with as well. Talking about fishing economy, that's what the Mista's opting for as well, getting those fishing ships up and running now. As we head into the 8th minute of the game almost, we see the startings of a farming transition for the Holy Roman Empire underneath the supervision of that Ark and Chapel. Here come the spearmen on the south border. Do we see the army for RecoN? We do see 11 military units. There they are. A couple of spearmen, a couple of archers. Not sure it's quite enough just yet, but it might lose the raiding bonus on the... No, he actually uses the emergency repairs there, so nice work there by RecoN to keep that alive. Spears going to be chased away. There are a couple of archers going to get some good valuable hits on those retreating spears for the Mongols. No YAM network being used here, no Khan involved. Obviously the YAM network is a nice boost for the Mongols, courtesy of the Deer Stones, and units that are around outposts gain 15% more speed, so that's a very, very nice boost there. And they do have to be around the outposts though, of course. Scout coming up for RecoN, looking to see what he can find on the map. As a galley on the field, he noticed the dock there that Mista had, and 2 fishing ships are garrisoned inside, and this is going to be an interesting play here because, I mean, does Mista try and push this back, or does he focus on land? And I have a feeling that the Mista is opting to focus on land, and what's giving that away is the resources. Look at that at the top right, 900 food coming in, 600 gold, looking to get that Castle Age. RecoN needs to be careful. He will be, you know, he's going to be taken by a Castle Age army if he's not too careful. He may need to wall, he doesn't have the wood to do so just yet. And that's primarily because he's going to be queuing up fishing ships for the food economy of the zone. Now, securing water like this will help RecoN quite extensively. Mongols will need to be very aggressive in the mid to late Castle Age, you feel, and that's commonly what they do, that's commonly what they excel at. As we see the Step Redoubt, the landmark of choice for the Mongols and the Mista. Step Redoubt acting as a gur and can enable gold to be dropped off at this landmark, and when they do drop off that gold, it's increased by 50%. So that's a huge eco boost in a way. Now, what this might end up being is a huge amount of map control for the Mongols. Holy Roman Empire kind of pushed into a corner here because Castle Age is usually the domain of the Holy Roman Empire, at least in terms of speed of getting there, but he's struggling to get there, and what this means is that the Mongols and Mista might be able to obtain a good amount of map control and get those relics in particular unchallenged, as we do see some spearmen trying to harass those villages on gold, but there's outposts there. Mista doing well to fortify his base and position. And behind this, we may see Mista drop down a prayer tent for those relics once he hits the Castle Age. And that'd be a nice boost for his economy. Each relic bringing in 100 gold per minute. And we could even see sacred sites activated. There are 2 sacred sites on this map, Golden Heights, one on the west side, one in the center. And look at this, walls are going up for the Holy Roman Empire. It looks like RecoN is going to be pinned at home for quite some time now. Stuck in the feudal age for now. It's looking to get wheelbarrow. But interesting opening to this best of 5 set. Mista reaching that Castle Age time at a very nice time. 10.5 minutes on the clock, and these villagers still chopping wood here on the west rather than the southern border here. Bit of a oversight there, RecoN. I mean, he's got a lot on his mind, I'm sure, in this game. Could be benefiting from a 40% boost on those gather speeds, but in any case, we see a scouting falcon being used by the veteran Khan for the Mongols and Mista. There is that prayer tent that we see will be enabling the Mongols to get some shaman out onto the field to get those relics. Archery range being placed. I suspect maybe crossbows could be an option for the Mista. Spearmen and crossbows could be a formidable force against the Holy Roman Empire. Question is, what will we see RecoN look to do in the Castle Age? I suspect he'll go for the Burgher Palace. No real reason to go for the Regulus Cathedral at this point. He's probably going to miss out on a lot of the relics. I mean, he does technically have one relic here that he can take, but it just feels like he's going to be under pressure, and he probably knows it against the Mongols, and so the Burgher Palace could be a safe bet, but of course the potency of that landmark kind of dwindles as you get into the late game, because of course it's just the equivalent of 5 barracks. It doesn't give you more than that. So Regulus Cathedral has a potential late game, you know, a boost throughout the whole game that you can't get in any other way. As we see a couple of man-at-arms going to be torching down that gate, so the attack begins. Outpost going on that gold position, that's a nice option. One other option for RecoN is to think about getting to the Imperial Age after getting to the Castle Age, because he may need to fortify this position with cannon emplacements in these outposts, but that's a long way away, you feel, because Castle Age is not in yet, just yet. As he does start to hit the resource requirements, just a bit more gold will be needed for RecoN to get to that next age. Meanwhile, on the waters is getting fishing economy up and rolling. The dock has been taken care of by Mista, for Mista. There is no dock there for Mista, and he's actually given up the waters here, so Mongols are going to look to be aggressive on land, as we see the Burgher of Palace, the landmark of choice for RecoN today. It's going up with 11 villagers, so he wants that fast, he wants to produce those units. Trouble is, Burgher Palace does limit you to, infantry units, whether it be man-at-arms or Lance Connector. Lance Connector could come in clutch here, because we're expecting to see crossbows coming out of this archery range that was built in the way up to Castle Edge for the Mista. And you can see doubling down on that position with the archer rangers, 3 of them. We'll have 4 in total. There's a blacksmith coming up for some upgrades for those army that will be popping out for the Mongols anytime soon. Farming transitioning is continuing, and lots of villagers on stone could be effective for getting a keep. Or I suspect it won't be for another town centre. Suspect not. Possibly for emplacements in those outposts potentially, as we do see a lot of villagers go to that gold mine. 14 of them, Burgher Palace continues to produce. It's actually struggling to maintain production there a little bit. On the west side, Sacred Site is being capped by the Shaman for the Mongols. And they do burn through that palisade wall. The infantry are in for the Mongols now, spearmen and man-at-arms, with the Khan leading the way. Army there for RecoN is starting to build up though, 26 military to 21, so certainly that Burgher Palace is helping with the production speed. It is super fast, upgrading those man-at-arms now to Castle Age units. Villagers being pulled away though, they were actually taking the deer there, and are no longer able to do that. Sacred Site capped, relics being brought in. This is a good sign for the Mongols. We talked about it, the fact that they got to the Castle Age first, gained a lot of map control with military, 2 relics already in the bag, and possibly a third. Sacred Site already capped on the west side, so a lot of gold coming in passively for the Mongols. Now we talk about economy. Mista's economy will be possibly a bit better. I mean, sure, RecoN does have the fishing economy, but the relics, Sacred Sites, passively generating gold for the Mista is going to be really strong. Alright, a bit of a lull in the game so far. I suspect at this stage, both players kind of building up a little bit their army. Just to let you guys know, I have casted plenty of other games in the Bull Wololo Legacy main event, so do check out the video playlist if you're interested in other casted sets. In particular, might I just recommend an incredible set between Muslim and Kapoch. It was absolutely flabbergasting. The last game on Mediterranean was an incredible one. It's certainly worth a check, and also Muslim versus Marine Lord and the Decider round. That was a fantastic set. We know Muslim and Marine Lord have that little bit of rivalry, a bit of friendship going on there. And so it was a very good set to watch. And we see the army being pushed back here. Mista having to retreat. Actually, it's not really an army, just a villager looking to get that outpost in the vision. Now, what could be very nice is an outpost in... Yeah, we're just about to say it, because on this map we can often see outposts going on this cliff. It gives so much vision. And in fact, let's just take a look. Let's take a look at that vision there, Mista. That's so much vision with this outpost. He can see army coming in through that gate. This side as well. It's so potent having vision like this for the Mongols, as he caps 2 Sacred Sites. That Sacred Site timer will be now activated, as the army numbers really building up for Mongols here. 39 versus 28. I'm sure he's using the Uvu. Only 160 gold left, stone rather, in that Uvu, so he's clearly using it for double production. Or maybe not actually. He doesn't have any production buildings around it. Maybe for emplacements instead. But in any case, we do see the outpost being fortified here on that forward position. RecoN, is clearly kind of concerned with that position. It's an outpost looking to be put up by Mista. Does get ranged by the outpost that RecoN has. Decides to place it a bit further back. An army having a way through on the west side now, looking to try and break through that gate. And RecoN does have his army there, but the concern for RecoN at this stage is that there are a lot of crossbows there. Mostly heavy infantry units here for RecoN, and he doesn't have the tools to deal with this. He would need to actually get some horsemen, you feel. Trouble is, there are a lot of man-at-arms there for the Mongols as well. Mista using man-at-arms. Typically man-at-arms are thought about as a strong unit for the Holy Roman Empire, but the Mongols today showing the Holy Roman Empire how it can be done with man-at-arms as well. And they're going to actually start to push further forward, attacking the outpost. I don't know how I feel about that for the Mongols, because emergency repairs could come in. Villagers do garrison inside that outpost, and crossbows are going to push the man-at-arms back for RecoN. RecoN has no choice but to give up this ground. He just about gets the emergency repairs in that outpost, and RecoN needs to save up. He needs to save up his military and take a decisive fight. Could potentially think about placing a keep, but doesn't quite have enough stone for it just yet, and he's under a lot of pressure. Villagers do go down. 56 villagers for RecoN, 53 for the Mista, but that doesn't tell the full picture in terms of economy, because look at that gold income coming in from the top right. 1,100 gold per minute for the Mongols. And you compare that to the 300 gold coming in for the Holy Roman Empire. This is an unfamiliar territory for the Holy Roman Empire. It's usually them who have an insane amount of gold, but that gold is being funded by the fact that Mista has 3 relics already deposited in a prayer tent. I take that back, just the 4th one just got deposited now, and he has one of the sacred sites. But RecoN goes up to the Imperial Age with the Palace of Swabi in a relatively exposed area, actually. I mean, it would have been interesting to see the Palace of Swabi being placed here on this woodline and potentially this gold, but he's put it on the forward position. This could come under siege here as the game develops. We shall have to see how that pans out, but the army here on the west is the problem for RecoN at the moment. We'll lose that outpost. It's on fire. I don't believe he has the access to the emergency repairs just yet. It's on cooldown, and the crossbows going to get the raiding bonus. You might be wondering, why is the Mista attacking these buildings? It's not going to do anything. Well, it is doing something. When those buildings go in flames, that gives the Mista more and more resources as the raiding bounty increases. As we start to see some trebuchets and outposts being placed by the Mongols, looking to solidify this position. And looks like RecoN is grouping up his army. He's waiting for a decisive fight, and he needs to get those upgrades. He's struggling with the blacksmith upgrades, doesn't even have castle age upgrades, let alone imperial ones. In fact, he doesn't even have some of the feudal age ones. We'll be looking to get a siege workshop. Maybe a mangonel or two could help him quite significantly. Look at the shaman healing up the units for the Mongols. Marching drills is being researched for the Holy Roman Empire. Man-at-Arms being sent on the north. He wants to take care of that vision. He will be torching down those outposts that are in strategic positions for the Mongols. But the push is coming in on the west side. There is a trebuchet. Going to unpack and unfold and look to try and take that town centre. Villagers heading into the... I'm not sure where those villagers are up to, but they head into their deaths, and he's going to walk past on the northern side as well, trying to pick off retreating man-at-arms. He's going to dive underneath that outpost, and this could be quite expensive for the Mista, but he does have Shaman. This is the key bit of detail. In normal circumstances, when you don't have Shaman here, these units will melt, but the Shaman are healing them up as they take damage, and the trebuchet will be going down there on the north. Nice play there by RecoN to actually keep units free and available to do that little bit of a snipe with the trebuchet. Outpost going up on this gold vein. He needs to. He's been pushed off the main gold, which has run out anyway. But in the center of the map, the sacred site being neutralized, there are outposts looking to be put up. One has already gone up. On the east, water is very much in control for RecoN. But the army diving in very heavily. No cannon placements in that outpost. Does have a cannon placement in this outpost near the Arca Chapel and on this woodline. Trouble is, he doesn't have a cannon placement. A cannon placement here would really work wonders. Doesn't have it clicked or researching yet, as the crossbows cause a lot of idle time. 19 villagers are idle for RecoN right now. Despite having the Palace of Swabi, he will be boosting up that eco very quickly, but a lot of it's been idle for so long. Mista will be happy with his chances of winning this game. Game number 1 heating up in Bull Wololo Legacy, one of the quarterfinals now. 2 trebuchets unpack, and we're looking to do some damage on the housing situation for the HRE. Really, this is a kind of concerning position. It looks like some units were lost here in the southern portion of this map. More raiding bounty comes in by taking out that mill, and I think RecoN is in a lot of trouble. He has economy 80 villages, or 80 economy units at least. It includes fishing ships. He's going to be getting university to get those upgrades for those units, and he needs them quickly. Going to take down this outpost position here on the west. That's actually quite a nice pick off there. Might be able to wall up here. Possibly stone walls could be an option here for RecoN. Stone walls will help him out a little bit, at least on the west border, but concern is this eastern border only has palisade walls, and it's a long way to wall. An outpost will be looking to go on that gold vein, but the villagers, these guys are going down. Unfortunately, RecoN will be losing those villagers. They are cheap for him at the moment at only 17 food, and they take 6 seconds to produce, so they're super fast for the HRE with that villager printer. And the Arca Chapel having beautiful, beautiful farms around it. Man-at-Arms heading towards that siege workshop. We'll be looking to do some damage, heading underneath the outposts. That's less than ideal. There are crossbows there, so this is an issue for RecoN. You get the feeling he needs some stables. He needs some horsemen to be popping out soon. He has got that university up and running. And there we are. There's that stable transition. Looking to get some horsemen most likely. There's the Sacred Site timer activated again. On the west side is being challenged though by a man-at-arms. Center Sacred Site looking to be taken control by Mista. Mista is focusing on the center now with 4 trebuchets, building up a large army. Here we are, 75 military versus 38. RecoN in all sorts of trouble. The trouble for RecoN is you kind of need to balance the two between getting military units, the numbers of them and the upgrades. And he is struggling at the moment. Not only does Mista have a large number of units, he's got Shaman. Going to need to see more mangonels, you feel, for RecoN to be able to stand a chance in winning this opening game of this best of 5. Certainly an entertaining opening. Mangonels do fire off, but the Shaman don't take too much losses, and they're just going to heat each other up anyway. This is looking rough. That siege workshop goes down there for RecoN. He's got plenty of expandable locations here and real estate. He's building a siege workshop in a bit more of a safer location. Man-at-arms going on the west side a little bit there for RecoN just to see what's what. Another outpost going to be placed around just outside the farms, but I'm not sure if it's enough, and he's going to need cannon emplacement. The trouble for RecoN as well is he doesn't have any culverins. Being in the Imperial Age, I think the next step really will be a culverin, because he's going to be up against 4 trebuchets. Trouble is, these culverins are very expensive. Look at this, 400 wood, 600 gold. You know, yeah. He just doesn't have the gold. That is the big issue. RecoN struggling on gold, and here comes a big push for the Mista. He's looking aggressive, angry. Shaman on the front lines, crossbows in behind, and you know, even horsemen, he needs a large number of horsemen. I think it might be mangonels a better option, because he needs a huge mass of horsemen to be able to take an effective fight. I mean, sure, crossbowmen are countered by horsemen, but it's not the hardest counter in the world, and they have a good base damage, these crossbows, so in a large mass like this, they'll still trade very well against you know, a medium-sized group of horsemen. I mean, he has 3 there. It's just not going to be enough, and you feel for RecoN here because he's struggling. Despite having a better economy, I think at this point he needs to stop producing villagers and just focus and make sure he doesn't die in this situation, because he is very close to dying. 4 relics and 1 sacred site. That's equivalent of 500 gold per minute. When we talk about eco balance and differences, well, 500 gold per minute, that's equivalent of 10 villages, so that really does narrow the gap. And those are 5 trebuchets. These buildings are going to crumble very quickly. Burger Palace on fire. That only leaves 2 landmarks left: the Arkan Chapel and the central, or the the capital town center. Behind this, it gives so much map control. Mista able to freely take resources. No Inca damage really happening to Mista and the Mongols. Now he's pressurizing. He's heading deep into that army, into that base rather. Cannon placement is there, but there are 5 trebuchets. Really, how does RecoN win this? And it has to be with culverin. He has 1, and it won't be enough, you feel. Shaman heading forward, horsemen and engage. So the Shaman are acting as a meat shield. Actually, they're pretty. Wait, this is a clutch play here by the Mista. The Shaman have quite a decent amount of HP, and they're hitting each other up. And on the back lines, there's little crossbows firing off. Man-at-arms heads towards taking that culverin. Villagers coming out to repair, but the army numbers for RecoN dwindling. Only 34 left. Villagers are being idled in mass numbers. Culverin goes down. Mangonel will be next. Man-at-arms. Oh, this is so painful for RecoN. He's losing everything. Mista looking dominant at this situation. 26 minutes into the game almost, and I think we might see the GG here. Mista looking superior. 88 military versus 16. Game number 1, quarterfinals. Red Bull Wololo Legacy for the $300,000 tournament. And this is looking bad for RecoN. Look at that army numbers, and RecoN realizes that he taps out. Mista takes game number 1 on Golden Heights, and we are in for a great set, you feel. Mista looking strong as we head into game number 2. Welcome. Game number 2 between the Mista and the Rus. Well, Mista and RecoN. RecoN is playing as the Rus. In any case, in the north, we've got Mista playing in blue as the Abbasid dynasty on 4 lakes. And as we said, Rus being played by RecoN in yellow in the south. Interesting civilization matchup. We've not seen this on 4 lakes actually. The Abbasid dynasty, an interesting pick. So one of the bonuses that the Abbasid dynasty get is that they get cheaper docks. Very cheaper docks. I believe it's half price. So that saves a lot of wood for the Abbasid dynasty. And considering this in mind, that means they can get the dock up nice and early and get the fishing economy rocking and rolling nice and early too. Another thought for the Abbasid dynasty is going up with the economic wing and fresh foodstuffs. That reduces the villager production cost by 50%. it's a significant saving on food. Now, you wouldn't necessarily go for multiple town centers with the Abbasid dynasty on 4 lakes, because you're going to be investing in fishing ships. So these are kind of like mini town centers of their own, increasing the economy for your civilization. And so going up for a second town center is a large investment, which not necessarily will be too fruitful, considering you can get nice and nice and early docks there producing those fishing ships. The Rus have been known to be they're an interesting civilization. They go through peaks and troughs in terms of hybrid maps. Prior to this recent patch, they have been pretty decent, pretty strong, very effective at gathering food quickly. The larger fishing ship, though, is very expensive. It has a double cost attached to it. So a normal fishing ship would cost 75 wood, with the larger fishing ship costing 150 wood. Taking 38 seconds to train as well. 38 seconds is quite significant when you consider it's only 25 seconds for other civilizations. 25 seconds for the Abbasid dynasty. It's even 20 seconds for the Chinese. So significantly reduced there. Or less rather. And that means, more fishing ships out quicker. Now, the benefit for the Rus, though, and the larger fishing ships, the reason why they're so expensive, the reason why they take so long to train is because they are super, super efficient. They approximately gather food, I believe, 20% faster, considering, well, it depends how far the dock is, but these guys, they do not have to travel back to the dock to deposit the food, as you can see that the Abbasid dynasty fishing ships will need to do so. So that saves on travel time. If you're commuting to work, you want to take the shortest commute you can possibly take to increase your efficiency. And the Rus can be very strong, though, on the wood economy, looking to possibly get a wooden fortress to bolster the wood drop-off by 20%. Of course, they're a bit strapped for wood in the early game, but we shall see if he decides to do that. And there is a little bit of a mini-game, speaking of which, for the Rus of gathering bounty. RecoN getting enough bounty to get to the next age, 290 gold in the bank. And will want to possibly think about wheelbarrow. Doesn't have a hunting cabin, though, and can't really afford wheelbarrow as it stands. And so this is another consideration for the Rus in this most recent patch. The sheep that are underneath the town centre. Killing the sheep once used to give Rus gold. But now it doesn't. And it doesn't give them bounty either. And because of that, it's a little bit more tricky to go for an early wheelbarrow. They used to go for a Dark Age wheelbarrow with the Rus, and it used to be pretty strong. As we see RecoN investing in a barracks, maybe for some spearmen. Maybe looking to try and punish the dock that's been placed there by the Mista. But look at the number of fishing ships now. 7 of them. Compared to the Rus only being able to afford 3 at this point. There is that House of Wisdom. The Mista is still stuck in the Dark Age, actually, as it happens. And he's sending a villager here, looking to palisade wall this and make sure that economy is safe. He's perhaps a bit concerned about a proxy dock, or a dock being in that position, as Mr. Scout is looking to try and deny some bounty there. In any case, the Rus are going up to the feudal age now with about 5 villagers there on the Golden Gate. Spearman going on the west side. Where is that chap up to? What is he up to? Where is he going? Aha! Mista investing in a dock on the west pond as well, looking to really maximize food economy. And that really explains why his uptime to the feudal age is a little bit delayed. There comes out a spearman now for RecoN, looking to try and punish that. Not sure where that spearman is. It's a bit difficult to see in this biome. This is a Sahara Desert biome. But I'm sure that spearman will be heading in that direction soon. He was heading west. Maybe got lost in the desert. But in any case, Mista will be getting up to the next stage soon. Going up with the culture wing. So take everything back of what I said about the economic win and fresh foodstuffs. Things are changing, and well, why am I surprised? This is the Mista we're talking about. Mista, a fantastic strategist. And he is going for the culture wing. He wants to get those cheaper upgrades. And this is smart, because he realized, he knows, we all know, that it's less likely you're going to go for multiple expansions. So it does look like it's going to be one town centre play for the Mista, and he's going to focus on eco upgrades. So he's really going to maximize the use of eco upgrades and that culturing and preservation of knowledge. Looking to get a dock on the east pond as well. Mista looking to be greedy. That dock should go up. But the west side of the dock being under pressure now, being torched by 3 spearmen. But, fishing economy has been established, and I wonder whether Mista will just replace the dock in the north. But that's exactly what's happening. Have a look at this. Mista really maximizing the fishing economy, and this could really help him, because that food economy is going to be really, really strong here for the Mista in the mid to late feudal age. Of course though, it will be the task of RecoN to try and punish this as best as possible. The dock does go up, and have a look at this. Mista going to just gather some sheep food and then go back home. Got 3 docks, and I suspect it's going to go super heavy on wood. Now, what's really interesting is that there's a decision to be made. You know, he could be opting for double broadaxe instantly from that lumber camp, but will he look to get preservation of knowledge first to try and make that double broadaxe even cheaper? Could quite be the case. We will have to wait and see. There it is, preservation of knowledge coming in. Only takes 30 seconds, so I suspect he'll wait for that tech to come in and then get double broadaxe and really knuckle down on that wood and translate that into fishing economy. So he's got that second dock and he's producing fish ships from that as well. So whilst the dock here might go down, I mean, this does have 800 HP still left on it, so it'll take some time. And well, the concern for RecoN is that if a galley pops out here, or rather for the Abbasid dynasty, a dhow. If a dhow pops out there, those spearmen could be in trouble, as we do see some spearmen from Mista looking to try and delay things a little bit in terms of this dock going down. But the dock is on fire now, so if Mista wants to keep this alive, villagers will have to come out and repair, as RecoN looking to challenge this eastern dock with a dock of his own. Lots of docks on 4 lakes, of course. One of the maps has its history in Age of Empires 2, as that dock will be burnt to the ground, but Mista will not worry. He has the dock in the north, which RecoN possibly does not know about, and I suspect he doesn't know about, and that's a bit of a concern. He is not aware of this dock. This is a very nice play by the Mista. Those fishing ships, I mean, RecoN's probably thinking, oh, these fishing ships are all idle now. Oh, but they're not. In the north part of that pond, there is that dock, and Mista might need to be careful not to lead those spearmen that direction, though. He won't want to reveal that position. Here comes a dhow on East Pond. This is where the fight looks to be. Lodger Galley coming forward for the roost, looking to challenge that dock, and that's lost a bit of HP there on that dock, actually, the Abbasid dynasty. And dhow looking to see if there's anything in that pond, looking to snipe some fish. In the southern aspect of things, Scout looking to poke and prod that dock, as we see the Lodger fishing ships gathering food. Does have a Lodger Galley as well in that position, wants to make sure that's safe. But oh, look at this, so many fishing ships here on the west side for the Mista. Look at the economy numbers, 48 for the Mista, 40 for RecoN, and it just comes down to having docks early, as palisades, extensive palisade walls coming out for RecoN. I mean, they look kind of greedy, but actually it's not that much of a wood investment, and it protects quite a lot. There's a gold, there's a berries, and there's a dock. We shall see if you'll be able to defend that position though, because Abbasid dynasty, they are no slouches when it comes to military presence, going for double arch range and a barracks. Heavy infantry army composition here for him, and he's now going to be going up to the next stage, the military wing, to the castle age. And it just really looks like the food economy has really made a big difference here. Look at that food economy, 1,200 almost food per minute for the Mista versus the 500 for RecoN. This is a very nice play here, macro approach here for the Mista on 4 legs, and this is an incredible build, because now he's able to afford a lot of military on the ground, camel archers, as well as a decent number of spearmen. There's 6 of them. There are just 2 archers there for RecoN, and villagers here on the gold vein might be under pressure a little bit. Spearmen are going to dive underneath. He's not too worried. There's only 2 archers there. The camel archers sweep up that spearman. These camel archers do great against spearmen. They get a bonus damage against spearmen, and now the Mista's creating a bit of idle time. He's forced out a wooden fortress, and these guys don't come cheaply either. There's that wooden fortress we talked about earlier on the game. You can see a little plus there. It's kind of influencing that lumber camp, getting the 20% extra wood. Oh, this is an issue. Let's just talk about map generation here. The Roos have both wood lines forward, as he looks to try and get some control of this eastern pond, but 2 wood lines forward, and that it could be a big source of pressure here, and already is a source of pressure. It does have palisade walls there, but an outpost in that position will deny a lot of the wood, and this is a big concern, because where does RecoN get more wood from? The next wood line is even further away. That is not ideal, and I think RecoN needs to establish some control here. Trouble is for RecoN is that his opponent is now in the castle age. Going up with the high trade house will give him a bit of gold income, and also deer will be spawned from there, will be adding to the bounty. Oh, here comes a bagler for the Mista, going to push these fishing ships, the galleys away. Does have a larger fishing boat, but the economy is untouched here on the West Pond. I think RecoN thinks this is gone, but it hasn't. There is a dock there, and it's working fine for the Mista. And not only is it working fine, it is getting so much food for him, and that will translate into military. As time goes on in this game, I feel like RecoN is falling behind on economy. A couple of camel archers might need to back off from that spearman. Takes care of the spearman and the camel archers though with the ranged attack. A couple of archers there for RecoN. RecoN has invested in a barracks and an archery range. Double barracks as it seems. Double broadaxe coming in. In fact, it's not double broadaxe, it's actually going to be lumber preservation for the Mista. Don't forget, Mista's economy, not only is it looking strong on water, it's looking strong on land with the upgrades. The second town centre was put down though for Rus and RecoN. And that means his economy will be, flourishing in terms of village count. Trouble for him is that a lot of those villages will be at risk now. There's a mangonel. This mangonel might actually get some shots off here on the wood line. That's a concern. Outpost. There could be vision here for the Mista. It's hard to see through that forest. He can't see anything just yet, but an overchop will do it for him. This outpost give him vision? He's going to fire into the darkness anyway, and he might get some value. He's got some value. There's some villages that are very weak. He didn't get a kill, I don't believe, but that's not even half the problem. Half the problem is that there's no wood income now coming in for RecoN. He has to head to this wood line on the west side, but how long before that gets to a situation where it becomes precarious? On the east pond, RecoN does have some dominance now, but only has one lodger fishing ship anyway. And trouble is, how does he get wood to fund more lodger fishing ships? He can't. It's going to be a struggle. His food income is looking nice though for RecoN, so that's one thing to bear in mind. The fishing ship efficiency for the lodger fishing ship is very, very nice. 1,000 food almost there for RecoN, but still the Abbasid dynasty doing better in that regard. And talking about in that regard, the Abbasid dynasty, they're heading down on the west side. Palisade walls are starting to go up slightly. One villager bears the brunt of a lot of attack from the camel archers. There is a Springald in play, so that Springald will want to try and neutralise that mangonel, but the mangonel getting shots off here. And I'm not sure if Mista even sees anything. He does see something. He's going to get some hits here, and what do you do if you're RecoN? How does he take wood? He is going to struggle. The villagers have to be careful here for RecoN. It looks like he has textiles. He must have textiles. He does indeed, but these villagers can only last here for so long. There's the engagement that Mista wanted. He's got the spearmen on the front line against the man-at-arms from the Rus, and the spearmen do hold their own. Camel archers in behind. Camel archer numbers are dwindling though. The archer numbers are looking good for RecoN. Crossbows in behind for the Mista. The crossbows will work really quite nice to take care of those man-at-arms, as the villagers on that woodline are very, very precarious position. He might get another mangonel shot, and this is looking good for the Mista. He's got so many weak villagers there. A couple more mangonel shots and they all go down. The villagers do get pulled out there in time, but look at this military count, 25 to 15. This could start to overrun things. Mista looking strong in this best of 5. Already took game number 1, looking to take game number 2 as well. Will he be able to hold on here, RecoN? He's healing up his Springald with a villager. He needs to make sure he survives longer here, because he needs a way back in the game. Not really maximising the benefit from this high trade house. He's getting deer, but can't take it. And to be fair, he's really using this for the gold, because realistically he should be getting the food on the waters. But villager lead looking, or eco lead, is not particularly extensive for the Abbasid dynasty, so RecoN holding his own in terms of eco, but the spawn here for RecoN is really pretty rough here. Nice backward line for the Abbasid dynasty, but he was aggressive for the Mista, so he got the control of the game by the scruff of the neck. Look at the outpost going up, giving him so much vision, giving him so much control, pinning the Rus back at home. And these two forward wood lines is probably going to be the demise for this game, at least for RecoN. Mangonel unpacks and unfolds and shoots. There's a mangonel defense though for RecoN, holding on nicely. Has a trebuchet from that siege workshop, so that trebuchet will look to try and take down those outposts, slowly but surely. Now the outposts have been nerfed recently. They used to have 1,000 hit points, and now they have 750. Mangonel harassing villagers on that woodline again. Mangonel being repaired by villagers, villagers going on the west side again, trying to get control of a wood line. RecoN certainly stabilising well. And there's a mangonel on that northern border of that woodland as well. And this is concerned. Golden Age tier 2 activated for the Abbasid dynasty. That eco will be nice and rocking and rolling. And what's interesting, just if you haven't noticed already, look at the top left. Stone income. 1,000 stone in the bank for the Mista. I suspect it's going to be a keep drop, and can you imagine a keep drop going on here? Having said that, there is a trebuchet for RecoN, so that's something that the Mista will have to deal with, and the Palisade Wall's offering protection. Could be a strong push coming in soon for the Mista. Mista has gained some control by Palisade walling here on the west side, securing some golden stone as we see. Really doubling down. Looks like it's going to be man-at-arms and crossbows, the army composition of choice for the Abbasid dynasty today on 4 legs. The other outpost does go down for the Mista. Man-at-arms just hiding around there, looking to bide his time. Bit of a stalemate so far. The army numbers have started to build up again for RecoN though, 41 of them, and there is a mangonel looking to take out some of the crossbows. Crossbows are actually getting some hits on those villagers, and this is a source of problem here really. Wooden Fortress going there trying to boost up the wood that's being deposited, but you just get the feeling the longer the game goes on, what does RecoN do for wood? He is just going to be pinned back at home, and he'll have to take a decisive fight, you feel. Is there an overchop there? Could quite possibly be. No, it's no overchop there for now. But again, RecoN is getting dangerously close to a situation where he's going to run out of wood. Stable archery range. And here comes the army, they're pushing forward. Quite a bit of siege. 3 springles, a trebuchet and a mangonel and a dream. Look at this. The production buildings in the stealth forest. And that stealth forest is an awkward spot for the Rus. You won't see what's coming until it's possibly too late. Keep going on this wood line on the east side. This is just such a nice keep actually. It really protects this area. It means that RecoN can't push out. There is a wood line there, could have been taken, but we can't now. And RecoN hasn't invested in stone for a keep of his own. Takes an engagement here on the front lines. Crossbows behind that palisade gate. Man-at-arms on the front lines for RecoN, but those man-at-arms will dwindle. Large number of crossbows here for the Abbasid dynasty. The army numbers looking good for Mista. 33 crossbows. Crossbows engaging against each other. And mangonel getting more hits on the villagers there. He's just blindly firing here, the Mista. This is a very nice play. Oh, it's not. I take that back. There's an overchop there. It's not blind anymore. Man-at-arms dive in. This is open. There is a springald. The springald can't range that mangonel though, I don't believe. And this is a huge concern because RecoN's economy is being idled here. Villagers having to be pulled left, right, and centre. But RecoN holding on just for now. This palisade wall might drop soon. Man-at-arms diving in on the west side of this wood line, and yeah, this is an issue. How does RecoN get wood? The keep is there, that keep is ranging this wood line, and this is a disaster for RecoN. I feel like the tap out might come in soon. Mista looking dominant in game number 2 on 4 legs. Came down to the aggression. It came down to the fact that he had 3 docks very early on. Food income was insane. I mean, the Rus are holding their own in terms of economy, but the trouble is it's the wood. This is a wood game, and Mista playing this very nicely strategically. He recognizes it, and RecoN does tap out. Mista, he leads the set 2-0. RecoN needs a reverse sweep. He is under all sorts of pressure in this quarterfinals. Mista edging closer to that semi-final place. Who will win game number 3? Let's find out. Welcome back. Game number 3. Mista versus the RecoN, and Mista will be playing on the east side of Wetlands. That's the map we're playing on, Wetlands. He's playing on the east in blue as the English. In the south, we've got RecoN playing as the Mongols in yellow. Now, things are heating up. This is a best of 5, and that means with Mista leading the series so far 2-0, RecoN will certainly need a response as he actually starts to move the girl on this eastern part of the shorefish, and maybe just looking to scout out. Actually no, he will deploy and enable the fishing economy to really establish itself on this map, Wetlands. The English played by Mista, going for an early barracks here with some man-at-arms most likely, looking to pressurize the Uvu potentially. And this is an interesting play because on Wetlands, you know, he might be able to punish this Uvu. And in fact he might, and he might actually go for the villagers instead. This possibly will be raged by the town centre. It's a little bit tricky there for the Mista, and it will be raged by the town centre, so Mista won't be able to get too much value there, but taking out the Uvu could certainly help potentially. And we shall see if it looks like RecoN is being relatively passive early on. No sort of outpost rushes, and that kind of makes sense considering the position of his starting over. And it's kind of unfortunate that he's gone all the way out here for that over, because he does have a stone pile here. And they just may not have seen it. And there's a lot of villagers on that shorefish, so the food gather speed should be pretty decent here for the Mongols, but it is actually looking better for the Mista. I think it's the walking time that really is paying a difference here. And also the number of villagers. Let's just actually take a look at that. 8 villagers on food versus the 5 there. Outpost going on this position, looking to defend this area. We'll be keen not to lose control here, as the Ubu is slowly being torched just by 1 man-at-arms and just applying a bit of pressure. But it's quite a heavy investment in order just for that mild amount of pressure. That should actually delay his Mista's uptime a little bit, as we do start to see some villagers transition to gold. 8 villagers on food and 3 villagers on gold now. Slowly working himself up to the next age. Maybe going for an early wheelbarrow potentially, because he should probably be left up with a couple of bit of extra gold there. But we shall see. RecoN has plenty of gold in the bank. Got 3 villagers close to the town centre on that gold vein. Has 200. Starts to peel away 2 villagers away from gold. Goes to food. We'll be looking to get to that next stage. And landmark of choice could be interesting. Mongols often do go for deer stones, but with a neutral market like here, I mean, dare I say, could it be Silver Tree? I usually expect to see deer stones, so I think that's what we're going to see here. Deer stones most likely. Council Hall, probably the choice here for the Mista. Unlikely to see that Abbey of Kings. As we see, the outpost getting good value. Man-at-Arms trying to head in that position, and I think RecoN was aware of that, of course, because the Man-at-Arms was attacking Uvu. It is actually within the range of the town centre rather, so that's quite helpful. It is going to be the Silver Tree, and well, RecoN's going to be revealing the hand. Mista will see that. Mista will see that for sure. He does see it, and looks like trade is going to be happening here on wetlands. This is kind of awkward because it's a relatively open map, and that's a long distance to be going for that neutral market. But looks like RecoN is looking to make it work. Now, the opportunity cost, as they say, of going for the Silver Tree means that he won't be going for deer stones, and deer stones would be something quite useful for the YAM network, enabling infantry around the outpost to be getting movement speed. And we do still see that the cavalry and traders will get the movement speed on the outpost, but not the infantry, without that YAM network. And there's the council hall being built by the Mista by 5 villagers, so looking to get that comparative food age time as best as you can, and quite a few villagers on that wood line, 8 of them. It'd be interesting to see how this game pans out, because Mongols can be, they're really renowned to be aggressive, as we see more villagers come out to the Silver Tree to get to that field edge a bit quicker. But, with the Silver Tree expected to be a bit more of a macro game then for RecoN, as the Khan comes galloping in. Hope you guys are enjoying the casted sets so far from Bull Wololo Legacy. I do have a playlist of all my casted games from the series and the tournament. Do check it out if you're interested in seeing some of the games you may have missed. And the outpost doesn't quite help here, although man-at-arms are diving a bit closer in. They will help now. And the Ubu is now being replaced in the southern, gold stone mine rather. Okay, and the production building of choice is the archery range, expected there to deal with some of the man-at-arms. Ubu is under pressure. Hasn't actually been built just yet, actually. It's going to be built now, though. Khan heading that position well, trying to push those man-at-arms away. 3 man-at-arms there. Mista invested a bit more. Man-at-arms going to try and charge that Khan. RecoN was paying attention though. I'm not expecting to see any traders in this early. He needs to just kind of get some map control and control of the situation. As we do see double broadaxe will be coming in soon for RecoN to help those wood choppers chop a bit faster. Be 15% faster actually. As a stable is coming out for the Mista. Has a barracks, has a stable, has, effectively an archery range. This is an interesting approach here, playing as the English. Going to be countering those archers coming out for RecoN with a stable there, the Mista. A couple of longbows, be looking to try and get a couple of free hits on the hardened Khan if they can, and quite a bit of villagers on the shorefish. That's going to be a very, very nice amount of food income per minute coming because of that. The Khan on the gold vein, harassing those villagers. And no traders just as of yet, as I can see. The archers there just keeping an eye on things on this western approach to that Uvu, as we see a stable being put down now for the Mongols. So it'll be archer range stable opening. As we head into almost the 7th minute in the game, and farming transition coming out for the Mista. So relatively passive opening now for both players, but the numbers are building up. And Khan needs to get out of there. Horseman does have a faster movement speed, so the Khan will be heading back home to the town centre for safety. We see a Gerbi moved out on the shorefish. The shorefish is the the fastest source of food really on this map, and so Mongols looking to make use of that, getting outposts to be protective. And I like this kind of methodical expansion that RecoN is having with the outposts. He's doing it safely, not being reckless. This is a high stakes game after all. Mista quite comfortable though. He does have short bows, and when I say short bows, the villagers can fire arrows, so he can hold his own just for a temporary. If he needs to retreat, he can. Perhaps feels a less pressure to build outposts, as wheelbarrow will be coming in soon for RecoN. Has been clicked, and I say soon, but it's actually a minute and a half, as we do start to see horticulture coming in for Mista, and that food income is really going to start to skyrocket. You can see it's already almost at 600 food per minute, especially with the food coming in from the farms. And yeah, food income will be looking strong here. No traders just as of yet, and looks like RecoN is planning to play the late game. And this is kind of interesting because, one of the win conditions for the English is certainly the late game, the super late game. And RecoN's setting himself up to have some sort of answer to that with the silver tree. Horsemen heading in for the Mista, quite a few of them. The scout for extra vision. And a longbow as well. That villager might be caught out, and there's not enough space in the inn here. There's a horseman garrison inside the outpost, villagers garrison inside, but there's a horseman already in there taking a population space. Villager might go down there on the horseman, but there's a couple of good arrow fire coming out there for the Mista, so for RecoN rather. So Mista will be losing a couple of units, but creating a lot of idle time. Archers heading back there for RecoN, looking to stabilize the situation. And Mista farming transition is going to continue. Another mill going out and keeping the economy tight and packed and close knit. Military numbers starting to build up there though for RecoN. Quite a few archers. Quite a strong composition here. Couple of horsemen, couple of archers. We'll need Mista to think about a strategy against this. He does have stable and a barracks and, well, the council hall, so does have an opportunity to find a counter, and he's going to build an outpost on that gold vein. Not a bad idea. Can extend the castle network of castles bonus, but also of course offer a static defense there. As RecoN is looking to be a bit more aggressive now, heading forward. Horsemen looking to try and dive on that position, but the outpost will be going up before too long. Longbows and horsemen are in position for the Mista. No real value there to be had for RecoN as he sends the army westwards on wetlands, going north now, and going to be looking to maybe take care of these villagers on the mill and the shorefish, but Mista has the presence of mind to bring those villagers home and protect them. Horticulture, specialized pick coming in for RecoN there. Might pick off one villager. Oh, Mista pulling away the army there for a split second, and we'll lose a villager. A nice pick off there by RecoN. Still behind on economy as it happens though. But the good thing for RecoN, it does have wheelbarrow, does have double broadaxe. Comparatively to Mista though, he is missing horticulture, which will be coming in soon. And the good thing for RecoN is he's got the mobility there. Could use the maneuver arrow as well with the Khan should he wish to. Heading westwards, making a retreat there. What's happening here? It looks like Silver Tree is being placed near the neutral market. And I think, I mean, oh, right, holy smokes. Okay, well, RecoN has placed another market in the corner. Looking to establish trade, setting up the silver tree, has archers there protecting it, and this could be interesting. Mista has an option to try and pressurize that. He's going for stable, he's looking for mobility, and I think he will need that because he wants to pressurize the trade, and he wants that mobility to kind of try and cut off that trade if he can. He's got a good amount of food income coming in, although it doesn't have much saved up in the bank because he is going up to the castle age. And he's going up with the King's Palace with 14 villagers and might be able to get some lancers on the field, and RecoN a bit behind on that regard. He's still in the feudal age. We'll be looking to get the castle age soon though. He's a bit more gold. There's that castle age uptime for Mista, and RecoN might need to try and balance his economy, or he's got a good balance. He's going to be looking to get that castle age very soon, as we see the first trader popping out, getting 180 gold per trip. That's a pretty nice return on those traders. You need to make it work, and you need to engage his opponent. He needs to keep the Mista away from that trade for as long as possible. Step right out. That's an interesting choice. I was expecting to see the Cruel Tie, primarily because of the fact that he is expecting, hopefully, to get quite a decent amount of gold return from the silver tree. But he's actually going for the step redoubt, and I mean, getting good trade kind of makes the bonus of the step redoubt less important, but he's going to do it anyway. But he'll be able to extract a lot of gold from these gold veins. The step redoubt boosting the amount of gold deposited by 50%. So that's a very nice eco boost in many ways, as horsemen and archers join up together for the Mongols. Now, the Mongols are heading back home, looking to just to stabilize things on his way up to the next stage. He's always keeping an eye. He's always conscious of the step redoubt and the trade. As we do see a drop off there. Nice bit of gold coming in for RecoN. Still at 300 gold per minute though, but I mean that's just because he hasn't been collecting. He's been building the step redoubt. That gold income going to be really skyrocketing soon. Good number of villages there, 14. You can add on 50%. 2 knights, denies that outpost. Looks like of course, trying to establish a good trade route and get the Yam network, well not Yam network speed, but just the outpost boost for the traders, as we see on the south. Outpost going there to protect, and that's a very nice outpost by the way. Not only does it try and protect the shoreline and offer a bit of protection, it stops Mista kind of just charging into this market area, as we see the traders again depositing 180 gold, 18 food as well. Mista though looking ready to pounce on any traders that come this way on the west. This is something that RecoN needs to address. He needs to address it fast. He won't want the trade to be cut off too easily like this. Does he see this? I believe he will. No, he doesn't. He doesn't have the vision, doesn't have the outpost that he wanted. Gonna be another archery range going down. Lots of villages on that shore fish, and look at this. The trader has been brought to a grind. It has ground to a halt. Oh, does Mista see this? No, he doesn't. He's sending a knight there though. He wants to cut off the trade. And 2 knights class coming out a good time for RecoN. Gets a charge attack. He's going to engage on the knight, and the knight's going to focus on the traders most likely. Shouldn't be able to take any more value, but the knights are diving in that second down center that RecoN has expanded to. So RecoN playing a really expansive eco game here. And it's got a lot of units on the field as well. 23 versus 20. Traders are kind of being protected though. The trade route has been cut off temporarily. And I guess this is why he went for the step redoubt. He knew that it's always a possibility that this wouldn't work. So this makes good sense. He's going to get some spring order placements in the outpost as well. Going to get the Yam network there. Going to get that researched. 100 wood, 250 gold. Step redoubt is packing up and moving out. Engagement underneath the town centre. There's an engagement that RecoN wouldn't be too happy to take full head on, because there's quite a few knights there. Huge number of knights coming out for the English. Let's think about relics, because actually English have been focusing so much on military production. No relics been brought in, but look at the farming transition. Well, ultimately the English have gone for 2 town centres themselves, so RecoN not being too greedy with the second town centre expansion himself. But the eco lead really starting to build up for Mista, 64 to 50, and looks like Mista going to try and assault the villagers here on this shoreline, and that's exactly what's happening. RecoN having to try and defend from these raids, and the raids are looking good. Uh-oh. 10 villagers here. There is a spring order placement in that outpost. They actually head away from the outpost rather than garrisoning inside. And he has to get out of there. Does have wheelbarrow. The army is heading in that direction to protect for RecoN. And outpost going up on the silver tree. Is the trade working? Not so much. Villagers there being attacked. The outpost will do the work it needs to do. Knights are heading deep into the base. Looking to spam those outposts though. RecoN needs to stabilize. He's struggling. Lots of idle economy. Villagers garrison inside, but RecoN is managing to take out units. So the Mista's getting value in terms of idling economy, but he's losing units. There's a longbow and they're harassing that trade. RecoN needs to deal with that. Question is, how does he? He doesn't have the mobility. I like how Mista went for knights, and he's continuing with that plan. Look at that. He's getting plenty of stables. He wants to double down on cavalry. He wants the movement speed. He wants maneuverability, and there are outposts with spring on placement, so these knights might melt quickly. Might get a couple of traders though. But good value on those outposts. Uh-oh, and the south. Looks like RecoN going to bring that army towards villages. That's not what he wants. He needs to save those villages. RecoN. No, RecoN needs to pull those villagers away. He does now. Large army building up, longbows and knights. A nice composition here for the English. Is the trade up and running again? It does appear so. Man-at-arms clear that out. There we are. There's the outpost. There's 3 traders there. Going to be looking to get some gold income in. Charge attack. There are crossbows there on the field there for RecoN, so if you can get some good hits, that'd be nice. There are spring on the placement in this outpost as well, so even on the retreat, Mista might lose some units. Or it keeps the knight alive there. The charge continues. Mista looking to secure this central sacred site location. No, I don't think I see a monastery anywhere, but there's just a rally point, of course. Looking to stage an attack from that location, as the knights do. But this is precarious. There are 2 gold veins there for RecoN under pressure. Or at least could be under pressure quite significantly. I mean, a palisade wall there could be quite nice for him, just a short one. And there, won't take much wood investment. Got the outpost though, quite nicely with emplacements. Well, actually, these ones, yeah, this one has an emplacement, the others don't. The palisade walls are coming out for the English. Maybe looking to play that late game now. Got to be careful though, Mista, because he won't want the Mongols to boom up too much with the trade as well. 59 economy units though, only from RecoN so far. Versus the 78. But looking at the army value, look at that, 6,000 there for RecoN versus 5,000. Going to move the Uvu closer towards the center of the map now. And the Mista pulling back now. I think he realizes he needs to stabilize a little bit. The concern of trade still is still there for Mista though. And yep, traders still increasing in numbers now. Silver tree working nicely. You see some traders making a return home and pick up of more gold. As we see a bit of an engagement here. Knights gonna get through that little hole, but doesn't make it too perilous there for the Mongols. Spring on replacement going to be coming in the outpost. A nice position to do so. Oh, I talked about walls. Of course, the Mongols don't get walls. Holy smokes, that would have been nice to do. But just realised it just dawned on me again for... You know, the Mongols are one of those civilizations, well, the only civilization that don't get walls. As we see the knights heading on that west side location. RecoN needs to be careful. Who have some vision, but it's not a huge amount of vision. I mean, by the time he sees it, will he be able to react and stop it? Oh, it's just going to miss out on 3 traders there, but spring on emplacements. Oh, there's no emplacements here. It's just vision and speed aura, and the army is heading that direction there for RecoN in the north. Longbows, and that's a nice bit of spot there. He knows that the longbows aren't in position, so he's going to attack here. Might lose it, well, will lose a trader. Yeah, the crossbows can get in position here for RecoN. It could do some damage. Oh, nice play by RecoN. This is very nice. He pulled the traders. He's garrisoned the traders inside the outpost. Knights taking the engagement. They're spring on the placements here. Mista might lose a lot here. Even on the retreat, he might lose HP at least. And it's east. There's a single knight, but the spring on the placement villagers are going to fight here. And why not? Especially with the spring on the placement in that outpost. Knights head back home for the Mista. 40 army. Wasn't able to get the value he wanted. Oh, longbows. He might take a lot of villagers here. RecoN reacts, but he lost quite a few there. There's a spring on the placement. The spring on the placement won't do too much damage to the longbows. I mean, it's a bit of overkill there. The spring on the placement, of course, doing quite a bit of damage. 42. It will 2-shot. It won't overkill that much, actually, considering the maths. Oh, a lot of knights go down on the retreat. A lot of them are weak. And on the east, on the north rather, Lancer's being pulled away for RecoN, doesn't quite have the numbers, needs to retreat to the crossbows. This is not a fight Mista wants to take. He's being led here masterfully by the RecoN. Oh, Mista takes the fight. This is not a fight Mista can take. He has to retreat, but on the retreat he loses so many knights. Looking to extend that network of castles bonus through outposts there, the English. But this is being played super nicely by RecoN, and the trade is up and running again. It has a decent number of traders, not sort of game breaking, but Uvu under pressure. Knights charging in, and I think really if you're RecoN, maybe going full knights could be helpful here. There's quite a bit of investment into longbows. Man-at-arms will deal with that nicely as well though for RecoN, and the lancers do catch up. They're going to be moving forward, looking to take out the outpost and network of castles bonus. They're going to torch it down, but the knights might be better in the fight. Man-at-arms act as a meat shield. The lancers, oh, they need to engage in the fight. They're not. They are now. They wrap around at the right time. And the crossbows doing great work against the knights. The knights had to retreat, and there's a Mista kind of throwing away units here. There's a bit of a bad engagement for him. He retreats back. The outpost will go down. A couple of lancers torching it down, but quite a few casualties on either sides. The longbows picking apart a lot of those crossbows. Overall, decent engagement though for Mista. He does have to retreat now though. Going to retreat back to the network of castles, but the issue is that a lot of map control being established here by RecoN now with the military. Oh, it's a big pick here. 19 villagers. That could be juicy for RecoN if he spots it. He does spot it. He will know it's there. He saw the lancer was there. I think he saw it. He doesn't see the mining camp, but in any case, he's going to go north. Mista thinks he's going to go south. Mista changes. He's going to go north as well. Bit of an engagement here, possibly. Crossbows might get a couple of hits off. No, they don't. He's retreating. Look at the eco difference, though. Not as bad as it was. 86 versus 92, and a lot of nice trading coming in here. Upgrades coming in for both players, really. And the Mista might be thinking about going to the Imperial Age. It could be quite a possibility. Look at the resources he's getting. He's getting 1,700 food per minute. Look at the farming. I know it's the farming, because that's what the English do best. Look at that. Holy smokes. That's a lot of food coming in. Almost 2,000 food per minute. But looks like RecoN wanting to take an engagement here. Lancers on the front line against the knights from the English. Longbows there as well. But on the retreat, English getting good value, picking off some of the crossbows. Yeah, this is an issue. When you go up against the English, you either have to make a decision to go in or pull out. You can't go halfway because the longbows get damage on the way out. Oh, the knights are being split. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The knight's getting a good attack. There is the little bonus, the little ability that the Khan gets, boosting up these units there for the Mongols as he takes an engagement here, but I'm not sure this is an engagement that RecoN's going to find favourable. The knights weren't really in position for a long period of time, and crossbow numbers are dwindling. Longbows in the background looking to cut off the retreat of the crossbows. Crossbows are trying to retreat as best they can, microing this back, and this is an issue. Loses quite a lot of the mass there. RecoN's army down to 19. This is a bit of a bad fight. It's a terrible fight, that was. He didn't have all the upgrades he needed, really. Oh, he did have a better, but he did have better blacksmith upgrades, actually, to be fair. He had a lot of melee armor. He had Bloomer as well, so a bit of a surprise that fight ended up that way, but the longbows can be so powerful against the crossbows, especially because of the range. Even if you try, if you dilly-dally, if you just go slightly forward and don't really engage, you lose HP for nothing. As the knights now on the west side, I think Mista smells something. He smells blood. He knows that the trade is running. He wants to try and cut it off. Quite a few traders and quite a few villagers here. RecoN is aware of it. He's sending the army that way. Of course he'll be aware of it because of the outpost. The longbows looking to harass that Uvu. The Uvu will possibly go down, but there are villagers, outposts being built there again. But knights heading that way, going to assault some of the traders. They're under pressure. Knights for Mongols heading that direction as well. Quite a few weak ones for both players though. Crossbows should get some value here. A couple of trades will go down. Knights on the retreat will get picked apart by Springwood emplacements in the outpost, and some of the crossbows getting good value. Mista losing loads. Oh, I don't think it was worth it. I think he took away maybe 2-3 traders, but for that loss, oh, that was a big loss. So both players losing and having casualties on either side. Villagers have to be pulled away from that position. This is a source of pain for RecoN because he's struggling to defend this position. Crossbows though pushing it back. Lancers in position as well. RecoN pushing it back with less army here. Oh, Oh, the Lancers will picking off some of the the longbows rather on retreat, but he decides better of it. And RecoN decides to head back home and recover. Has a lot of villagers and economy generate 109 for both actually, so pretty well played by RecoN to be able to match up with the English. Now look at that food income though, double the food income, Mr. 2,000 food per minute. He is going to get a keep in this position, and that will be cutting off a lot of wood supply. That's not a keep that RecoN will want to let go up, and he might need to drop some trebuchets. Does have a siege workshop in that position. Can't really range. All the mangonels might get some good value. Let's just see. He does see the villagers. Can't unpack. The keep will go up though. Too late. Can't stop it now. He will need trebuchets to push that position back. Has 2 mangonels now, RecoN. Setting himself up for a slower push, but heading towards the north here. Lancers taking out a couple of the outposts, trying to reduce the extension of the vision for Mista. Mista sees it. He's going to continue the chase, and he's going to continue the chase with a lot of his army. Holy moly, 69 army, 28 knights versus 20. This is not a good fight for RecoN. He needs to back away. Will he back away? He won't notice in time. It almost seems. Going to head north. Uh-oh. RecoN. No. He can't engage here. He doesn't have the numbers. He's engaging. But he's going to win. He's going to lose this fight. Mista going to take a decisive fight. RecoN backs off now, but is it too little too late? He loses all too much. Holy moly. Continues to run away. Might look to try and get some eco damage, but in the meantime, look at this. Archers, the longbows, heading on the west side, looking to cut off that trade, and this keep is preoccupying RecoN somewhat. Knights heading down south, looking to get some eco damage, but he lost a lot of units there. There's bad engagement. Longbows heading that position. A couple of outposts. They will do some damage to the longbows, but the longbows will try and get maximized value by picking off traders if they can. There are spring replacements in these outposts. A couple of knights heading this way now. Oh, the longbows will pick apart a lot of the traders very quickly. Longbows will go down though. Knights are still being able to retreat, but look at the knight mass there for Mista. Looking incredibly strong in game number 3. Will he be able to win this set in this game? We shall see. RecoN still has a strong economy, so it could be anyone's game still. Taking out traders, but in order to do so, Mista is losing army as well. He lost his longbowman mass, and we'll see how he decides to replace his army. What units does he go for? Oh, the knights are diving in hard now. Mista going straight for the jugular, it seems. But he's going to be held back a little bit. The static defense is really helping out the Mongols. Population looking very healthy for Mista. 122 villagers, 55 military. I mean, the military numbers really starting to boost up for RecoN. Look at that food income. It's almost approaching 2,000 food as well per minute. But look at the gold income. It is 2,000 gold per minute for RecoN. That trade looking strong, as well as the gold miners. Let's see how many gold miners he has. He has 11. Stone walls coming out for the Mista. Couple of lancers to get through. What's happening on the west? Uh-oh. Knights heading through. Going to cut off the trade again. Looking to torch down those outposts. Couple of crossbows, but I'm not sure if that's going to be enough, and traders are at risk of losing their lives. The crossbows need to be microed. A group of those knights can be taking out a lot of the traders. There's a lot of traders. Knights need to head in that position. Army is being pulled back home, and this is a favourable fight here for RecoN actually. He's using the lancers as a meat shield, crossbows in behind, but what's happening in the south, because the trade route is being demolished here. That is a huge pick off there by Mista. RecoN needs to do something about this. He needs to do something fast. He's losing so many traders. Look at that eco, 104 now versus 125. RecoN under all sorts of pressure. Does send a couple of lancers there in the north, going to get a decent trade, but the reinforcements, defenders advantage, really going to help Mista. In the northwest though, taking a decisive good fight here for RecoN. A lot of farming transition here. That's a bit of exposed eco, but in any case, the knight problem here has been taken care of with crossbows and mangonels, but the trouble is he's taking so much damage here, RecoN. But it does appear he's taking good fights here also all around the area. What is going on with Mista's military? He doesn't have military. What is happening? He lost so much, and I don't know how. But look at the military count, 11. And it comes down to like groups of fights. There were about 2-3 fights where Mista took really bad fights. And RecoN, whilst he lost a lot of trade, well, look at the military count. This is going to snowball. Mista has lost so much army. He doesn't have the army to defend with. He needs time. And I don't think RecoN's going to give it. I think he smells the blood. I mean, there were 2-3 fights. There was an engagement here in the northwest. There was an engagement a bit more central, and there it is. Mista taps out. RecoN pulls one back. He makes the set 2-1, and he means business. He is not out yet. RecoN has the potential to progress, but he does need to win the next 2 games. Will he be able to do it? Let's find out. Mista, RecoN, game number 4 is coming right up. Welcome back. Game number 4 between RecoN and the Mista, with RecoN spawning in the south corner of the map, being Gorge. The map is Gorge. He is spawned in yellow as the Ottomans. And in the north, Mista playing in blue as the Holy Roman Empire. This could be crunch time for both players, really, because if Mista wins this, he will be progressing to the semis, but RecoN needs a response. He needs to even up the series. He went 2-0 down. He pulled one back in the last game in fantastic fashion. Mongols versus English. And now RecoN needs to find a way to win this game on the Gorge. Has 3 villagers on that gold vein, which is incredibly far out for him. And that is very rough. I mean, yeah, that is terrible for a starting gold. Yeah, it is what it is though. The Gorge is often like this. You get this kind of back wood line, and then a gold is often quite far forward. But I mean, for the Holy Roman Empire, it's not too bad. No instant military school coming out for the Ottomans. We've seen that a couple of times, but he looks like he's going to make his way to the feudal age in good nick. But the concern is that, you know, the Holy Roman Empire had the prelate, boosting up the gather speed of these villages by 40%. The Ottomans have no such eco bonus, and in fact a little bit underwhelming in that side of things, but they do get free units from the military school, you know, in the can play a difference in the mid to late feudal age and castle age. Gonna go up to the next stage with the twin minaret madrase. Gonna be getting those berry bushes that collect food 50% faster, and they also replenish themselves once they're depleted after 120 seconds. Mista will be going to the next stage as well, but surprisingly, it's actually RecoN that got up to the next stage quicker. Wasn't expecting to see that, but it is indeed going to be the case. And bringing some sheep back home here now, the Mista. And in fact, interestingly enough, the reason for that delayed uptime compared to his opponent is because the Mista went for double scout. Not often done these days, but you know, he's switching things up a little bit here. So going for double scout, looking to try and deny sheep. And that's interesting though, because the Ottomans do get Anatolian hills. One of the vizier points they can spend is to get extra sheep, 8 sheep to be exact. And well, that's a pretty nice food boost, especially with the twin madrasa to add on top of that. And the RecoN Chapel is the landmark of choice, as we would expect, for the Holy Roman Empire. 6 villagers being used by the Mista to build that up. Don't be too far behind to the next stage, and well, RecoN has been doing fantastically well so far in the tournament, and you know, being part of the last 8, he'll be looking to try and make it even further. It looks like it's going to be a second town centre. 3 villagers on stone. Actually, I take that back. Probably not necessarily second town centre. It's probably for the military school, as we see Mista's camping out with a scout. He's keeping an eye on this. He's going nowhere. He's keeping an eye on those villagers. He sees what's happening. RecoN does get to the feudal age first, and we'll see what these villagers go off to do. These 4 villagers gonna go off to gold. Oh no, they're gonna go for the berry bush. They just need a couple of seconds to replenish. And now the sweet spot for gathering is between 3 and 4 villagers. So RecoN starting off with 4. Relic garrisoning inside the RecoN Chapel, going to be boosting up those villagers on wood. And does he actually range? Yeah, it does range those villagers on sheep as well. So, wait, and gold. Holy smokes, that's a great RecoN Chapel. And that's going to be fantastic for his ability to try and win this game. That's such a good boost there for the economy for the Holy Roman Empire. The Ottomans going to have their work cut out for themselves. A bit slow to get going comparatively. As you can see, berry bushes are now establishing themselves. So yeah, nice opening here. Sending more villagers to stone. It does actually look like a second town centre. It's not going to be military schools. It's going to be a second town centre, which is rather risky because, I mean, well, RecoN doesn't have any military units yet, and I suspect that's not going to be the case for Mista. Look at that, double barracks, going to be spamming out those men-at-arms, I suspect, and RecoN's got to be careful here. I don't like the way that this game is going for RecoN. Playing rather greedy, getting a stable up now. I would love to have just seen a military school, you know, just start pumping out those units for free. Instead, he's going to go straight for his second town centre, getting that 350 stone he needs He has got plenty of wood. In fact, it could be a good spot here on the wood and the berries. This wood does definitely need to be secured, and it's actually going to be on this side rather, on the wood there. Okay, second town center, stable opening. Not too terrible at this point, but looks like it's going to stay on stone, so going to be able to fund those military schools soon. Do we see units coming out? We do indeed. Man-at-arms trickling forward. RecoN is aware of the situation. Has some scouts, or has a scout rather, coming along, and I don't think he's had a vizier point just yet here. Second town center should go up. There's a stable. There we are. There's a military school and a bit of base building going on, because one thing to note with the Ottomans, if you get the blacksmith within the range of these production buildings, the production building speed is increased, which is a nice touch for the Ottomans, as the villagers on gold and stone rather are pressured now by the man-at-arms. Gets one hit off there, but the villagers are going to be making it home safe and secure. Doesn't have enough stone for another military school unless they deposit the stone, and he hits 150 stone, but he doesn't. He's a little bit shy of that second military school, so this is a very timely push by the Mista. It's a bit unfortunate not to be able to get that second military school, but it is what it is. I mean, he could have potentially actually just sacrificed a villager. But it is what it is. And now, second town center will be up and running. Villager count looking healthy for RecoN. 27 versus 25. But I'll tell you what's not looking healthy is the... Oh, hang on a minute. Oh. It'd be interesting to see what the cost of the military school is, actually. I may have missed that. I may have misread that entirely. We'll have to double check. We can't actually check on this capture age overlay cost of buildings. Of course, the Ottomans are one of the new civilizations, so we're getting to grips with things. It looks like it's the meta. So we just saw a vizier point being used by the Ottomans, going for the meta. Going to be able to drum out as melee armor bonus and movement speed bonus as well. So the meta is a very nice unit, but if you get the meta from the vizier point, you also have a movement speed bonus, as well as the ability to toggle between attack drums, defense drums, or ranged drums. Going towards the berry with a mill. I suspect that's more for... Wait. That's interesting. Okay, so he's going to actually secure the berries there with the mill. It won't be for wheelbarrow, because he could technically get wheelbarrow from the twin minaret madrasa. He doesn't have enough gold to do so. And this gold is just gone, and the secondary gold is looking very, very harsh there for RecoN. Has a gold here in the south, but very kind of exposed and wide out, and I mean, RecoN is forced to fight in the feudal age here. The Mista, on the other hand, I mean, he might just go for castle age on the back of this, knowing that his opponent can't really ever get there. Not when, not when the gold is in such a bad spot and being obliterated. There's an outpost protecting that location as well. Man-at-arms on the right side, going through 15 military to 7, and the Ottomans going for Sipahi from the stable and the military school. Keeping things simple with one unit being chosen, and slowly but surely, oh, it's a ram rush coming in for the Mista. He's looking to be aggressive in the feudal age, doubling down, wants to put some pressure. No castle age on the cards for a while, as he's invested in the third barracks as well. Yeah, Mista looking to pile on pressure. Doing something we haven't seen for a long time, an extended feudal age with the HRE, and there's no reason not to. I mean, ultimately, the Holy Roman Empire, with the eco bonus that they have with the prelate inspiring these villagers, it means their feudal age can be incredibly strong. They just have a outright better economy, and so unless your opponent has an ability to get to the castle age and out-tech you, well, there's no reason for you not to stay in the feudal age. Sipahi thought about going forward. He decides against it. He's going to bring them back home. He senses a bit of danger here with the rams. He doesn't see what's inside. He might be in for a rude awakening. The units do ungarrison a couple of spears and man-at-arms, but RecoN has the presence of mind to pull out in position. Trouble is for RecoN is he has to get up and close and personal. He's only got one unit type, no archers in behind this, and there are spearmen involved, and so he can never really push this. This is an issue for RecoN. He needs archer ranges, and he needs them fast. Either that, or he's toggled the military school to archers, but it might be too little too late, and this might be a bit of an oversight for RecoN, going for just one unit type. Yeah, this is looking rough, because that military school will be going down soon, especially because of the melee units here. Melee, I mean, the ram is great, but the melee unit's going to be torching that down as well. Military school will be going down, and another archer range coming out to try and replace the production, but this is a problem. The second town centre a bit greedy here against the Holy Roman Empire. Doesn't have the standing army to defend. Stable will be going down, and oh, not like this. We saw RecoN come back with such a great win in the last game, and he is struggling in this game number 4 though. As the man-at-arms going to peel off towards that wood line. The villagers here going to be idled. Where do those villagers go to get wood? Oh, this is such a concern. 13 villagers are being idled underneath the town centre. Getting good value though against the man-at-arms. Man-at-arms actually head back into the ram, as you would expect. It is going to go for the twin minaret madrasa now, and behind this, the problem is the Holy Roman Empire eco is completely untouched. Stables, more stables. I think maybe he needs to head forward with the Sipahi. They're not being used. Villagers going on the west to get the berries, but you know, look at this eco from the Holy Roman Empire. He's even had time to have a farming transition. He's absolutely fine here. Keeping some spearmen here as well. Mista has a presence of mind. He knows that there are Sipahi on the field, doesn't know where. He knows now. There's a decent number of units here though. He won't be able to win the fight. I mean, this is not a trade that really you want to take as RecoN. I mean, sure, he has better numbers, but spearmen do so well, and he does have the melee armor though upgrade, or the boost there, but the yeah, he has to head back here because of the 3 barracks there with the reinforcements coming in. Defender's advantage. Meanwhile, aggressively, Mista has got RecoN's economy in tatters. He does have a village elite though, 50 to 39, but he's just not helpful. He needs military here. 15 versus 35 in terms of military. He does have access to gold again, RecoN. But what does he do with gold here at this point? The feudal age can't even spend that gold for units. Only upgrades. And he doesn't have a market to trade that with. Does take out the ram, so nice hold eventually. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. RecoN going to lose the villagers here and berries, and there's no way about it. There's no two ways. He loses a lot there. Second town centre really not paying off for RecoN in this game number 4. Holding on because, you know, this is a chance. This is a chance of a lifetime. Red Bull Wololo Legacy for a lot of these players. $300,000. But I say chance of a lifetime. A player of like the caliber of RecoN. I mean, this is not going to be his last tournament unless he chooses not to play. I'm sure he, any of these players would back if they wanted to. It's not out yet. Still stabilizing the economy, but the military going to stay. It feels like it's going to spiral out of control here for Mista. RecoN getting some value with this the horsemen, the Sipahi, but keeping a couple of spears at home will be enough for the Mista. And this is a nice touch. We saw this in a Lenok match. Keeping the lumber cap there means the villagers do always walk in the range of that Arkan Chapel, and so he feels it's more cost-effective or efficient to actually continue the 40%. If you know, I take it back. He's just going to replace the lumber cap now. It makes sense. Look, talk about timing. As the Sipahi now head back home, look to try and protect. But this one ram and the units there getting so much value. They're ungarrisoned inside, and there's just nothing that RecoN has to deal with this. Doesn't have the archer mass he needed. Curiously. Continued with the Sipahi. Despite there being spearmen. I think he wanted the mobility, but it's not going to help him now. 9 villagers garrisoned inside that town centre, and it's looking rough for RecoN, but he's holding on. 14 minutes into the game, Sipahi that went forward are coming back with the meta. He needs to try and hold on. Stable's on fire. Will he send a villager to repair? We shall see. It doesn't seem like it. Takes the engagement now. Not a bad one, but there are spearmen there. Spearmen going to trade really, really well. And so on the man-at-arms. He's fighting underneath the town centre, but even then, looks like Mista likes his chances, and he's happy because he's keeping 9 villagers idled, taking some of the farms out. We'll be looking that fire. That Sable is on fire. That might be going down, and I mean, Mista just straight up wins that fight. 38 military versus 7, being pushed on the east side as well. The berries are abandoned by those villagers. There's another ram, and this is looking very bad. 2 rams and a decent number of military there on the field, and I think the army's coming in from the north as well. Pushed off of gold. He is completely surrounded. Village count still somehow healthy there for RecoN. I'm not entirely sure how. 59, but I mean 22 of them are idle, so that is the big problem. Ram is taken out, but there are units inside, and they come out. And oh, where'd he go here for RecoN? He needs to run away with those villagers and try and grab wood, but look at the idle time being caused here. 23 villagers idled 15 minutes into the game, and RecoN's economy is in tatters. Mista looking strong. He is looking strong for the win and the progression to the semi-finals. We shall see if he does it. I think it's a matter of time now. But your heart goes out for RecoN. He put such a strong performance. Wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. RecoN somehow affording Castle Age. But I feel like I'm not sure about that step, because he gets there, but then what? His economy is in tatters. Will he be able to afford any units? I'm not so sure. As another ram comes in from the east, villagers will torch that down, but what's inside? What's hiding inside that ram? In more infantry, and the villagers, they have to escape and run. And it takes a lot of villager time to build the Mehmed Imperial Armory as well, so that's a lot of economy going down. 50 economy versus 55. RecoN does still have 5 more villagers, but look at how many are idled, and for how long as well. 16 are idle. Man-at-Arms spot the tech up. They're going to assault those villagers. I mean, even with the Mehmed Imperial Armory going up, those villagers are going to be slain, and I think it's going to be a castle into GG. And there it is. RecoN does get to the next stage, but he taps out. Mista will be one of your semi-finalists. What a fantastic set. RecoN did incredibly well to come out in that last game, but he wasn't able to hold on this open map against the Holy Roman Empire and Mista. Hope you guys enjoyed this casted set, and if you did, do give the video a thumbs up. I've got plenty of the other sets casted for Bull Wololo Legacy. If you want to see them, do check them out on the playlist. Click the right hand card screen now. It'll take you there. Take care, and see you next time.